everything changes.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the channel. It's Tuesday again. Today's January 26, 2021, and as a follow-up to my last video, I did a profit and numbers breakdown for eBay where you could make $50,000 in profit on eBay. What would it take? How many items? How many per day? How many per year? How many average listings would you need? At what average sale price? So a lot of people who sell on POSHMARK, we always see the conversations, is it possible to make a full-time income with just POSHMARK? And if so, what would it take? Well, of course it's possible. It's not as likely as it is on eBay because eBay simply just has a bigger platform, more shoppers, more buyers, more sellers, etc. But there are people who do it on POSHMARK. Now, I always recommend being split on multiple platforms, being diversified, not all of your eggs in one basket. But if you did want to just operate on POSHMARK, which a lot of you may, and I hope that some of you seeing this video will share this out in your POSHMARK groups to people who are mostly POSHMARK. Again, I highly recommend something like List Perfectly to diversify, but if you choose one platform, here's the breakdown on POSHMARK. Now, let me give you just a short synopsis on eBay. eBay people who do clothing and shoes mainly, since that's what POSHMARK is going to focus on, average about 50% profit. So if they want to make 50,000 profit, they have to do 100,000 in gross sales, because typically they're left with 50 cents on the dollar. So that's the numbers. So 100,000 in gross sales, the 50% that they're losing is about 14% worth of total eBay fees and platform fees. That's opposed to 20% on Posh. And they also have a cost of goods sold, which is about the same for either platform, no matter what you're buying. I assume people with $20, $25 averages are spending $4 and $5 an item, which puts them at like anywhere from 15 to 20% is what I typically recommend. So even if you're at 20% cost of goods, say you sell an item for $25 and it cost you $5, that's a 20% cost of goods sold. Then you would be at 34% on eBay. And then there is 1% for like promoteds or store. So that's 35, 36%. And then the cost of the label on eBay when you're buying it. Now, POSHMARK people say, oh, we don't have the cost of label. Right, but you can't add that amount into your gross sales. That amount is added into eBay's gross sales because we get paid it on eBay and then we use it to buy the label. So that's where the eBay people get up to 50%, another 15 or 16% worth of the label. So that's the 50%. On Posh, it's a little different. So if you sell an item for $20 on POSHMARK and Posh charges the buyer the $7 and change, your gross sale is actually $20. You never see the $7 and Posh takes care of the label and you don't have to buy the label, etc. You lose 20% off of your total gross sales, as long as you're selling items that are up and above beyond Posh's minimum, of course, because if it's lower than that, you're actually paying more than 20% fees because they get their minimum fee amount. So we're just going to assume this is based on a $20 average sale price. So you're losing 20% worth of fees. And then we also have your cost of goods sold. Let's assume that it's 20%. You're selling a $20 item, you paid $4. You're selling a $25 item, you paid $5, whatever it is. So that's 40% off your cost of goods and your fees. Does that make sense to everyone? 20% gets to POSHMARK and 20% is what you spent on the item. Say you sold a $30 item, maybe you paid $6 for it, right? So 20% of that total price is what you paid for the item. So 40% gone. Every dollar you sell, 40 cents is gone. Now, there are no store costs with POSHMARK. There's no promoteds, there's no label, there's none of that. So the only other thing that you would really have in cost is materials. That's your packaging. Maybe you bought special poly mailers. Maybe you bought thank you notices or business cards or envelopes or whatever it is. Now, assuming, let's just say you sell somebody who sells a couple $1,000s a month, right? So $20, obviously 50 items would be $1,000. Let's say you sell $2,000 and it's 100 items a month. Those 100 items out of 2,000, it should only be pennies. You should only be paying pennies, 10 cents, 20 cents, 30 cents for poly mailers or material. You really can't spend more than 30 to 50 cents on all that packaging stuff. It's simply not necessary and it's a waste of money. So if you're selling 100 items and you're spending even 50 cents on that, your total would be, of course, $50 worth of packaging material based on your total sales, which we just said was $2,000. So 10% is 200, 5% is 100, 2.5% is your $50 in material cost if you do the math. So you're losing 40 and you've got like 2 to 3% in material cost. So 42, 43%, even if you call it 45% to be safe, somewhere between 40 and 45% is your in pocket for every dollar that you sell. So if you sell $100, you should make or out of pocket, so you should be making 55%, I'm sorry, 45% is out of pocket, 55% in your pocket. So if you sell $100, you should make $55 in profit on that $100. And that's slightly better than eBay. And typically Posh has a higher selling price. So that seems like the better answer, right? Normally I'd agree with you, but because eBay has so many buyers and so many sellers, the volume should outrun the extra $5 you make on a $100 item over here. Does that make sense to everyone? eBay sellers put about 50% in their pocket, 45 to 50. Poshmark sellers put between like 55%-ish in their pocket. So for every transaction, Posh sellers typically, and this is just based on my store reviews and interviews with thousands of people, typically Posh sellers put more of the money in their pocket. But eBay sellers will, in the long run, sell many more items to outrun that extra money. So Posh seller sells 100 items, makes an extra $5 per item, $500. In that same amount of time, an eBay seller might sell 300 or 400 items, making an extra $5 or $10 for all those other items, way more money. Does that make sense? Okay, so if you want to sell $50,000 in profit, well, we just said you're gonna make $55 on every $100 that you sell. So if we sell $1,000, you'll make $550. If we sell $10,000, you're gonna make $5,500. And if you sell $100,000, you'll make $55,000. So you actually, in order to make $50,000 profit, you only got to sell around 90,000. At 50% is 45, and if we add another 5%, we're talking about 49.5. So somewhere around $90,000 in sales on Posh should profit you about 50 grand. Now, there are some of you that sell $100 items and you make 60% or 65%. You guys may only need to sell $80,000 to profit $50,000. So somewhere on the normal average, which I see is $20, $25 sale prices, you're gonna need to sell around $90,000 in gross sales, total gross sales, not including the shipping that Posh takes, but the total gross of your sales at $90,000 to profit your $50,000. So what does that mean for number of items and number of listings? How many do you need up? How many per day? What does it mean for the actual number of listings that you need, pieces of inventory, in order to hit that 90,000 gross and 50,000 profit? So if we're trying to hit 90,000 in sales and our items are averaging, let's say 20 to 25, we'll just call it $22, it comes out to 4,090 items for the year. 4,090 items. And if we divide that by 365, because we're entrepreneurs and we sell every single day of the year, we should be, it comes out to 11.2 items per day. If you're doing it based on a $25, because some of you guys have a nice $25 average, right? So we divide it by 25, it comes out to needing 3,600 items. You can see just by bumping your average up $3 or $4, you instantly only need to sell 490 less items. So if we divide that by 365, now we're only at 9.8. So you can do the reverse math based on your average sale price. If you don't know your average sale price, you really need to know it. And if you're not tracking your numbers, please get in touch with me right away so I can get you a spreadsheet, a free spreadsheet or accounting help or something to help you track your numbers. You need to know your numbers and your average sale price. So based on a $25 average, you only need about 9.5 to 10 items a day. 22, you need about 11 to 11.5 per day. So if we call it a good average, somewhere around 10 items per day on Posh, what does it take to sell 10 items? If you watch the video I did day before on eBay, most eBay clothing, shoe, accessory sellers average about 0.5% to 0.75% per day of their total inventory sold. So what does that mean? If they have 1,000 listings and they sell 0.5% a day, 1% is 10, 0.5% is 5, 0.75% would be 7.5 items. So most eBay sellers with 1,000 listings will average between 6 and 8, call it 7 items per day. So for them to hit 10 items, they need to have something like 1,400, maybe 1,500 if they're simply just selling clothes, shoes, accessories. That is an average. There are people that do much better than that. They have 1,000 items and they sell 10 or 15 a day. As a Poshmark seller, all the averages I see are slightly less, meaning people that sell 1,000 items don't sell or have 1,000 active on Posh, don't sell 7 or 8 like on eBay. They sell like 4 or 5. It's just not as many buyers. Now, again, there are many of you that do much better. Please feel free to comment your average sale price or your average sell-through rate. How many you have active and what your average is. Not your best day. Don't tell me you have 1,000 listings and you sold 20 yesterday because the following day you sold 2. Your average. I always take all the sales through the last 30 or 60 days. On eBay, it even gives us 90 days, and I get the average. So, if that holds true for Posh at 0.5%, and you need to sell 10 a day, you would need 2,000 listings, because 0.5%, 1% is 20, 0.5% is 10 per day if you had 2,000 up on Posh at 0.5%. You need to know these average sale prices, the average sell-through rate, which is what I just told you, total up how many you have active and how many you sell per day on average, and you'll know both of those numbers, and you'll know exactly where you are, and you can do the reverse math like I'm doing to figure out how many you would need, how many you would have to list. Remember, if you're gonna sell that many, that's 300 listings a month, 10 a day, you have to replace 300. So if you're buying your items for a $4 average cost, you're gonna spend, to replace those 300 items, $3 or $4 cost, you're gonna spend $1,000 to $1,200 to replace your inventory in order to make that amount of sales. Because remember, you're going to be selling, $8,000 a month to hit that number. You're going to be spending $1,200 of it on cost of goods, and you have to replace. You have to buy 300 items, and you have to list 300 items, which means if you're selling 10 a day, you got to list at least 10 a day. Definitely want to list more in order to get that up. Now, with all of this being said, I just told you guys the numbers. These are big numbers, especially to operate as one person. Many people that operate at these numbers require at least listing help or a significant other, a brother, sister, mother, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever it is, husband, wife, and some of you others involved. But with that said, now you're going to start losing that money to payroll or help or whatever it is. Is there an easier way? Can I do it without getting 1,500, 2,000 listings? Absolutely. One, focus on better goods. If you can get a better sell-through rate, you can make more money without having to list additional items. That's always the answer, sell better stuff. If you're selling Aeropostale and American Eagle all day at a 0.3% sell-through rate, when you should be selling, Lilly Pulitzer and Adidas and things like that have a 0.75% rate, all of a sudden you've doubled your sell-through rate, doubled your sales without increasing your inventory. Does that make sense? If stuff is selling faster, you're getting more sales because it's better stuff while the other stuff is just sitting. That's answer one. Answer two is diversify platforms. Obviously, being on multiple platforms, we talk about eBay, we talk about Posh, even Macari, some of you like. I'm not a fan, but I know some of you are. That will help you, maybe you put the same 1,000 items cross-listed on eBay and you're selling 5 a day or 6 a day. You have the same 1,000 items cross-listed on Posh, you're selling 3 or 4 a day. All of a sudden, you put it onto the other platforms and now you're selling 8 to 10 a day simply by putting it over to the other platform using List Perfectly, which I'll link below if you want to check it out. Greatest cross-listing tool in my opinion. So that's answer number two, diversify and get on multiple platforms. Answer number three is the easiest, sell other stuff. Shoes and clothes are fantastic, but with the advent of Poshmark, expanding to other categories, they allow you to sell home goods, household goods, even plush. There's other things that sell for higher prices faster. Start investigating, start looking at Posh. There's a really good way. Now, Posh has solds like eBay does. It doesn't exactly tell you like the sell date and all that stuff. You can click on it and see some information, not quite as easy, but simply going into categories and looking at items that have a ton of sold items with higher prices, will give you an idea like maybe this category is really good, something I can sell, and then all of a sudden you start putting it on eBay and now you're just raising up. The short answer I can give all of you is you have to think outside of the box, but more than just thinking outside of the box or expanding or diversifying and doing all of this, if what you're doing, and please write this down, if what you're doing every day is not working, change what you are doing. If you've just started selling shoes, give it a chance. Buy and sell, give it time. But if you've been buying and selling purple shoes for the last 2 years and you barely make any money selling purple shoes, stop selling purple shoes. Sell pink ones, sell white ones. Stop selling shoes altogether. Stop selling belts. Whatever is not working. And this is another reason you have to know your numbers. You need to know every time you sell a belt and how much money you made on it. And if all year long you had hundreds of belts and you only sold 10 and made like 50 bucks, it's a really bad usage of your time and bad profit. Absolutely think about what is selling and what it isn't. If you're selling a pair of shoes every single day making 20 bucks, all of a sudden you figured out that you made, like $7,000 last year on shoes, maybe it's time that you find some new sources for shoes to add to your inventory. Keep getting what you're getting, but start finding more, start looking for it. Networking in groups, networking on social media. I talk about buying out people's inventory. There's some people that hate shoes. You'll find them in the Facebook groups all the time, but what do they say? Like, I hate shoes. And you're like, oh, I love shoes. I'll take them all. I'll give you $3, $4 a piece. Boom, all of a sudden 50 pairs of shoes land on your doorstep and now you're off and rolling. So think outside of the box, but also focus on what works. And if it's not working, fix it, change it. Stop doing the same things that don't work and keep doing and do more of the things that do work. That's my real tip on how to make $50,000 or $500,000 or $500 million in profit. Work and focus on what works and change what doesn't. So hopefully that numbers breakdown will help you, especially to you Poshmark sellers. Please comment any questions, comments, or concerns below. And if you could share this video in your Facebook groups or on your Instagram and just tag me, I will shout you out. I'll give you, a tag back so that you get some followers and some notifications and notices. It's just important that people see these numbers and understand how to fix their business, because many people don't know their numbers, they don't know their average sale price, they don't know their sell-through rate, they don't know any of it, and they're never going to be able to fix it if they don't know it. How can you fix something if you don't know, right? Okay, so from beautiful Orlando, it's actually sunny. It's almost 80 degrees today, still at the resort, going to be here a little longer. The house build is coming along. It's taking its time, but we're getting there. I appreciate you guys watching as always, and hit the like button if this helps you, gives you some information, educates you, and get you on your way. And make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future YouTube videos. It's important to know your numbers, and that's where you get those numbers right here, guys. Thank you so much as always. There's a ton of resources in the box below. Click see more. There's cross posting from List Perfectly, which I mentioned. There's accounting services. My CPA, Mark, Not Your Dad's CPA, has an amazing reseller tax academy if you need help with your taxes. He's licensed. He's an e-commerce seller. That's linked below. My website, my training programs, everything are down there, so check them out. And if you have any questions about any of it, you can comment or email me directly, rockstarflipper@gmail.com. And until next time from Orlando, I'll see you guys in the next video.